Hello, so here's a simple problem, or at least I thought it was a simple problem until I realized what was going on. So over on I Love Google Sheets, it's a free Facebook group for anyone who likes Google Sheets or wants to get help or even wants to help. So Christy here is trying to get all of these scores here in the middle. You can see 44 divided by 50, 50 to 40, and get the percentage of them. She wants to take this score and get a percentage. And I saw this and I was like, oh, that's so simple. And I just wanted to see what other people were replying with, and they're all correct in exactly this particular way, but it tends to be, one, hard to implement if you're using the query formula down here. Somebody said that. There's pros and cons to all these solutions. So Ian here says left and using the left-right formula, which totally is okay if all of the numbers were exactly 2 digits. Here, Muhammad says use a formula C1 times 100. I wonder if that actually works. We're going to test it out in this video. Just delete the /50. Okay, yeah, you could get that first thing and they're all 50, but again, there's pros and cons. Not flexible. It'll work in this particular situation, but not others. Here's someone who is, what are they doing? Removing the first mistake in data so that you can later use the sheet for adding other test scores. Yeah, like you want to be able to say, okay, if I have this exact format later on, can I do it again and again? Can I set up a sheet that I'm like, just import these numbers? Here, Google Sheets expert gsheets.com has an array formula plus if plus query. And again, let's test these out. And I have my own possible solution that I want to try myself. And I want to see what is the sort of balance. What are the things we can do to just get the job done versus, oh, if we have any kind of format like this again, can we change it, edit it, or can we import it? There's this range of flexibility. So let's create a sheet and that has exactly this, and we'll try to solve it for Christy. Okay, so I have some scores, but I don't like how the sheet looks, so I'm going to use sheet styles and try to just quickly make this look better. Okay, so just in a click, I just wanted to change the background color a little bit. So now we have these scores, and we want to get our percentages here, just like in Christy's case. We have in the column C, and we want to get percentages in the D column. Now look, I don't exactly know what's going on here. It looks like that there is a space between 44 and the slash. Then there's a slash and then a space and 50. That might not be exactly the case all the time, but it does look pretty clear that is the case. So let's go through a couple of these problems or solutions to this problem and see if they work. So let's see if this left and right work. And it does. Look, we can see the 88, and we can absolutely do that, right? But in the case, let's see if we don't have these spaces. Does it still work? And it absolutely does, right? Because we are guessing that there are some character. It could be any number of characters between these two numbers, and that these numbers are always going to be 2 digits. Let's see if it's like one. Somebody did really bad on the test. And let's see if this will solve it. And it does, right? Why does it do that? What is this left doing? We can actually look here and see. You can just do, yep, it's just going to get the 1. What if it's not out of 50? What if it's out of 4? Totally fine, because it's getting the left 2 and the right 2. And this right 2 is 4, and this left 2 is 1 because it has a space. If we don't have a space, error, we get errors. If we have something like this, what if we have, and now it thinks it's a date. Okay. Oh, we're going to have some problems with that later. All right. What if it's 0, 4, 83? Totally fine, because we have 2 characters on the left and 2 characters on the right. If we take out that 0, we have an error. So, sure, this is a solution to this exact problem. And I would guess to say there is one extra thing we can do, but in addition to this left-right, is wrap it in an array formula and do this. C2, we have to do 2:C, and C2, we have to do :C as well. I would wrap it in an array formula, but you're going to get all of these errors, right? And now here's where actually a bigger problem happens. If you end up doing this and then go if error, inside, if error, and saying, let's just get rid of all the errors. We know this works. We saw it happen 10 times. We'll keep doing it. And then you end up having some errors, and you're like, I just don't want to see the errors. You do if error. But now this one that actually has a different setup in a different format is a complete blank. So you will have to still do spot checks and stuff with this. All right. So that's problematic, right? Again, it does solve the solution in the moment, but it doesn't actually solve like for flexibility. We can do array formula, fine, we're going to get some errors. We can do if error, then we're going to have a bigger error, and we're just going to go through this manually ourselves anyways. So let's look at some other options. Mohammed here says use the formula C1 times 100 in D1 to calculate the percentage for each corresponding cell in column C. Drag the formula down from D1. Now this seems like he didn't realize that that this is not a thing. This is not like anything, but let's see. I just want to see what happens if that is the case. And also he says C1, so I think he meant C2 here. Because C1 is just score times 100. But let's see. We're just going to get a value error. And it tells us right here, function multiply parameter 1 expects a number value, so we're not getting a number. And you can see right away, this is not a number. But 44 divided by 50 is a text, cannot be coerced to a number. So this is wrong, right? We need the spaces here. Let's go fix these up a little bit and get some more. So this is not a good solution because it literally is a different format here. If this multiplication only could definitely work if there were like other columns here. If this was 44 and 50, you could do equals A1 divided by B. No, not A1. I did the same mistake. A2, B2, and you get a percentage in the format that is percentage. Great, but we don't have that format. We don't have the luxury of that. Perhaps we could split this. You can definitely split this text C2, and that's going towards what I was thinking of doing is doing, let's look at that, split the C2 text by this. And we get 44 and 50, right? And then now we can do equals E2 divided by F2, and we get our percentage. But we want to do that all in one cell, right? We don't want extra cells here. We want to do it right here. So instead of this split, or in addition to this split, let's do index. We can do index to say we just want of this split the first thing, which will be the first row and the first column, which will be 44. See, we have the number 44 shows up here. Do exactly the same thing. Take exactly the same index and put it in divided by, and instead of 1 at the end, the column 1, we want column 2. And now we have two splits with the index saying, give me the first thing, and then give me the second thing. And in this case, if we just do index and split, and this index 1 on the first one divided by the index of the second one, now it doesn't matter if there's that space or not. So Google Sheets knows enough to say, okay, this is 44 and a space, and then the other one is going to be a space and 50. You could see it here. We could even test it out without doing all of the entire function itself. You just do equals split. We just did it. Split, and then you see the number. You're like, oh, I can use this. An index, which is a really silly, you don't think there's any use for it until you're like, oh, I can index this split, and this works out perfectly. This sort of formula combination of index and split is just like super useful. And for some people, including myself, it's way easier to do something like this, to say, okay, I just want to split this by this slash, and then I want to take the first one and divide it by the second one. Much easier than the other query options that are also here. But let's go and look and discover some other ones, because I think this is the most flexible, and I think this is the answer here. And we can also absolutely array formula this. Let's do that now and see what we get. We're just going to change C2 to C, and we're going to get some issues, but we're going to solve those along the way. Should be able to. So we should be able to use the array formula with index if we just take out the row here. So we have our index split, and then we can usually do, let's do index split again, but this time we want the 2, and we want divide. And so we get this now. We have some numbers above 1 here. We now have array formula wrapped around index split divided by index split, but just took out the row, because if we add the row, what was happening is it was saying, of this array formula, give me the first row. But we want, as it goes down, we just want that row. So we can see this is not correct. That's 0.88 for the whole, all of them. We don't want that. We want the actual number in the score each time. We have this array format, and in this case, it might look complicated and it might look much simpler to do a query and then figure out all of this mishmash inside the query. But let's see. I think, for myself, piecing this together is more simpler and step-by-step. This is all of the steps that we need to do if we were to do this manually, right? We need to take the 44 and the 50. We know visually we can split this between the slash. Take the first one, divide it by the second one, and then do that for each row. This is, in my head, how I would solve this problem manually, and now this formula is doing it. But let's look at query and see if we have another option. Because we do. There's always different ways to do this. Here, Roberto said delete this /50. Sure, that's okay if you want to delete the /50 from all of them. What if we just want to import them, get the percentage, and be done? So this one explains, I think, the query formula, but doesn't actually give me something to copy and paste. And then here, Google Sheets Expert mentions this equals array, and then has the query in here, which I think does exactly the same thing. Let's check it out. So we see an array formula. We see if C2 is nothing. I don't know why. Query split and query, and they're going to select column 1/2 label column 1 / let's see if this works. It works. But can you actually figure out what this is doing? Well, right here, this split is the same split, C2, and it's just array formula, right? We can take off this array formula. Let's see what happens. And we just need to change C2:C to C2. We need to take C2:C, change it to C2, and we need to take out the last array. So let's look at one of them, right? Same thing. Let's do, there are 2 commas here. If C2 is blank, it'll do nothing. So if we take this and we go down all the way to the bottom, whoops, I think there, if we go all the way to the bottom to a blank row, there we go. We got nothing, right? Because of that if. So let's take off that if, because that's a simple, same thing, if blank, or if it's nothing. And let's look at this query. And now this query is doing exactly the same work that our index and divide is doing in just a more explanatory way. With query, we have to explain it, like in words and in a particular syntax, right? Select column 1 / column 2, labels column 1 / column 2. This is a completely different syntax than we are normally using in our formulas. So again, it could be possible if you know all the possibilities of the query formula and sort of SQL kind of SQL sort of thing. And it uses exactly the same thing we've used. We're splitting C2, but this, I feel like, is much easier to read if we take off all of this stuff. We're just taking the index of the first thing of the split and the second thing of the split, dividing them. But really cool way to see different ways to use this. And now I'll reply to Christie's post and give her this another way where we have index and split here with array formula. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this sort of breakdown of this seemingly simple issue. And we really wanted to find the right flexible kind of formula versus just getting it done. Again, we can take these numbers, 44, 50, or remove /50 from all this. We can do a number of different ways, but this formula gives us the solution right away. And it's flexible for other scores like this. Hey, look for more videos here. This is the latest video from Better Sheets right here. And if you're looking for more templates, more design kind of stuff to make your sheet look better, check out this Ali Abdal sheet that I made a little bit better. I think you'll like his design, and I made it a little bit better. But maybe you want to check out this latest one from Better Sheets. It might interest you more.